So I want us to look at this is more like the second part of my conversation. My first part was really just to help us understand what is transition and to also understand why do you need a transition coach and to understand that your mindset is very critical, very, very critical if you're going to go through a transition and go through it successfully. But then to also say that we are not just going through transition. We want to go through transition and be transformed in the process. If I can come out on the other end, a grown person, a person with who has developed, who has unleashed their potential, you're looking back and saying, before I went through this, I was a different person, but this experience has changed me. Then we know that God is working in you and has worked through you and allowed what you've gone through to be a point of change, a point of no return. You're not the same again. That is what we want to achieve, that from change, it can be a process of transformation. So in this particular case, I like using acronyms because people will remember. So I'm going to use the word change to just talk to us about how can we go through a transition and come out transformed. That is the second part. How can we go through a transition, which is what we are calling change, and go out of it a transformed person. And using the word change, we will have C for circumstances. We'll look at what that is. H is harnessing your strengths. A is adapting. N is grasping those new opportunities. Don't let them pass you by because they are there. And then G is for growth. And E is to evaluate. Look back and evaluate. Let's look at this word change, one letter at a time. And so, under circumstances for C, the question we're asking is, what has changed? What has changed? Remember, we talked about you need to know what the change is when we're talking about courage. So what has changed? What is your new reality? How has this reality affected you and those around you? What is your focus? What is your focus? You remember in COVID, our new reality was like, oh my goodness, we cannot go out. Oh my goodness, we have to be in masks. I can't shake other people's hands. I cannot go for dinners anymore. All the restaurants are closed. These are the things we're talking about. You wake up and you realize, oh my goodness, with this new change, this is what it means. So what are your circumstances? Then what is your focus? In COVID, and I'll use COVID because for me, it is so universal that I think everybody will understand. Our focus, I think, at that time was, oh, now we are all going online, and we all learned how to do online things because we could no longer shake our hands. I remember many people were going shopping, and you'd go shopping once a month because you don't want to interact with too many people. So your focus was so much on how to keep yourself from getting the infection or the disease, the virus. So what is your focus in the transition you're going through? What are your fears? What are your concerns? What are your joys? What are you celebrating? What actions are you taking? And what reactions do you have? We all react to change differently. We all react to change. If I could use the example of loss, you've seen in a family when they lose a parent, all the children react differently. Why? Because each child had a kind of like different relationship with their parent. So we all react to change differently. Even one change will not affect all of us the same. Where is this change leaving you? What now is your new state? Remember, we had the current state, we're going through a transition, and then we have the future state. So now that transition has happened. Where has it left you? Is it left you jobless? Has it left you with more than you intended to have? Maybe it's a mother who thought she was having one child and suddenly realized they are twins. So it leaves you overwhelmed. Where has change left you? And what are you doing about it? What are you doing about where it has, what that circumstance, what are you doing about it? A lot of it, maybe you'll tell me, Nyambura, there's nothing I'm doing because I'm already so overwhelmed, I'm even lost. That's something you're doing about it, you're lost. So what are you doing about it? Where are you? Ask yourself that. What are my circumstances? And this is what we are calling self-awareness. But in that self-awareness, I want to again go back. And every time I'll try to relate this to what I feel God would be saying to you at that time is that He has a purpose for your life, even in that circumstance. Remember, we're talking about your mindset and keeping it positive. Know that God has a purpose for your life in that circumstance. As you're creating this self-awareness, as you're bringing out all these feelings and you're owning them, know that God has a purpose for your life. And so what is God's purpose for you in the circumstances of the transition you could be in right now? What do you think God's intent is with it? So those are your circumstances. Let's look at H. H is about harnessing your strengths. And when you're talking about strengths, we're talking about the abilities that you have, your gifts, and realizing that those are your own. They are yours. They are yours to own, and you should celebrate them. We sometimes forget that we have strengths and we have skills. And when we go through transitions, we are so concerned with what is going on and we almost have a pity party. Oh, it has happened to me. And we forget we are gifted people. I can actually wake up and do something. So what strengths do you have that you could use in your new reality? Focus on those. Focus on those strengths. So it's talking about taking some stock. Do not focus on what you don't have or what you think others have or they're doing better in. And sometimes we tend to do that at yeah. Now we are all told to go home in our department. And and maybe at least so and so, hey, then they have a side hustle. They have a fallback plan. Now me, I don't even have even a goat or a sheep or a cow I can milk. I have nothing. You begin to think the other person is better off than you. And you forget to look inward and say, I am talented. If I was doing that job, isn't there something I already know? If I had been employed, definitely there's some skills that I had. How can I use those to do something? So what resources or strengths are within your reach that you can use? Some of them are people. So what is your social capital like? Who are the people you know? I know there is this thing in Kenya, I know so and so. Not quite that way, but maybe is there someone you know that you can reach out to? What is your intellectual capital like? The knowledge that you have, the ideas. For goodness sake, you had been working maybe 2 years, 3 years. There is something you know. You just need to look inwardly. Are you able to learn? Can you begin to self-develop yourself? Nowadays, I'm very happy to see that there's a lot of online. There are so many new courses, and some you don't have to pay for. Can you begin to take those? It's not just about money. And sometimes we think I do not have money, so I can't even move. It's not always about money. What are the things that are non-financial that you can say are strengths that you have? So again, it's an issue of self-appraisal. We saw self-awareness, we're talking about self-appraisal. God has placed resources within you and within your reach, around you, around your circumstances that you can tap into and that you can use. So ask yourself today as you go through the transition you are in, which resources can you draw from and use as your strengths? Which strengths can you harness at this particular time? So when you're talking about resources, I want us to look at 4 options here. And these are doors. And the ones that are red are closed doors. They're not available. So door number 1 is what we used to be and we are able to do and still can. What we used to be able to do and we can still do it. So that door is still open. Before this change, before I lost my job, for example, allow me to use that as the example. Before that change of losing work, I was able to do something. I was able to do my courses online. I was able to access a certain training, and I can still do it. The fact that I've lost my job doesn't affect this because I've been doing it from the house. Or before I lost my job, for me personally, before I changed over to full-time coaching, I was coaching. So I told myself after I left work, I can still continue coaching. So what is it that you are doing that you can still continue doing? That's an open door. But the second one is not open. What you could not do before and you still cannot do, that you have no control over. You couldn't do it before, you still cannot do it. So even the transition, there's nothing you can do about it. The third door again is closed. What you used to be able to do, and now you cannot do it. Maybe before the transition, you could be able to do something. Maybe when you are probably as of, again, working, you are able to, now that you are in town or you are doing the office or whatever, there's an engagement you could have or an opportunity that was available for you. But because now you're not working, that opportunity is not there. So that's a closed door. But there is another open door, number 4, of what you could not do before, but now you can. Now, guess what? If you've lost a job, you could not do other work, but now you have all the time. You can do it. So as you develop new ideas of things that you can do, you now have all the time to do it. So what is it you could not do? I could not do my job and at the same time sell merchandise, for example. But now that I don't have a job, I have all the time to sell merchandise. Or I couldn't do a training, or I couldn't drop my children from in school in the morning because in the morning I had these things to do. So now I can do it. So look at your open doors. These are the resources we're saying. As you're looking about your strengths, don't look at the other person at what they have. Look at yourself and recognize. You remember we talked about self-awareness? Recognize those things that are closed doors, the number 2s and 3s, and appreciate the number 1 and 4 that are still open doors. Those are the strengths that you can take advantage of. So Alexander Graham Bell said that when one door closes, another door opens. But we so often look so long and regretfully upon the closed door, the number 2 and 3, that we do not see the ones that open up for us, the number 1 and 4. And that's where we tend to get stuck. And guess what? That is now the place where now coaches are helping you to uncover when you sit. When you ask me, why do you need a transition coach? This is one of the best places that the coach will help you get unstuck. Because we get so stuck, we see our mind is just here because of the pain, the fear, the anxiety that's overshadowing us, that we cannot see that door 1 and 4 are open. And we are so focused on door 2 and 3. So focus on what you have. Don't focus on what you've lost. Don't focus on door 2 and 3 that cannot open. Don't focus on what you've lost. Focus on what is at hand. What do you have? Because it is what you have that you can use to move forward. All right, then A is adapting to your new reality. And adapting, I have put like about 4 A's that will help us see what it means to adapt. We talked about accepting what has happened or acknowledging it has happened. So acknowledge what has happened, and the reality in it. And let me tell you, Shoti, many of us stay here for long. We stay in that we are, we can't believe. And it is necessary. It's a part of loss. Because like, for example, when you've lost a job or an opportunity, it could even be something like you've applied for a visa, for example, you couldn't get it and all that. We stay there in the pain and feeling very bad and feeling, the heartache and we stay there, but acknowledging, we are not belittling what you've gone through. We are not belittling the transition that you're having to go through now. But we are saying acknowledging it is a very big step to moving forward. Then second, appreciate that God has a reason for the experience and he will reveal his purpose to you. Then stop focusing then on the negative. You see, like we talked about those doors that were closed. Stop focusing on the negative. I can't now do this. Oh, now this is what everybody's talking about me. Now I am so embarrassed. Now who can I go to? Now this, and begin to build on the positive. Remember we talked about mindset with a bulb? Positive thinking. And then accept that this is your new reality. This is where you are. It's not anywhere else. This is where you are. This is where the transition has found. This is what is going on in your life. Accept it. And then begin to adjust your sales. Adjust what you talk about it. Adjust your actions. Adjust what you begin to believe. Learn what is new. Learn the new. What does it mean? people Google a lot, what does this mean for me? If it is an illness in a family, you're now transitioning to taking care of your elderly parents. As you get to 40, they always say you will be taking care of your elderly parents. This is a new reality. A transition into now all of us are having to take care of this parent, our financial resources, our social time, everything. When you're a caregiver, your social life even stops. So your new reality, begin to learn, what does it mean to take care of an ailing parent? What does it mean to have to take them to hospital every so often? How do we now begin to bring in caregivers? Begin to adjust and learn, and then unlearn the old. If now my social life has to be reduced because I have to take a lot of time to take care of my elderly parent, maybe I've even brought that parent to my house to live with me, I have to unlearn that if I used every Wednesday evening to have coffee with my girls, then I will have to unlearn that I can't do that anymore because I have a new responsibility. Life has changed. But then also I put there, reach out. You do not have to adjust and work on this alone. If there are experts who can help you, people, for example, as I'm talking about an ailing parent, we took care of my siblings and our parents over some time. And I know the burden that can be, burden in a good way, because our parents took care of us when we were young. We want to take care of them when they are aging. But it can weigh down on you. Reach out, ask for expert help, people who know how to take care of the elderly, people who know what you can expect. Reach out and get the assistance, and then carry a positive attitude. Carry a positive attitude. Focus on what you will gain, not on what you have lost or what you have given up. Slick Slime Sam is a children's YouTube channel, and there's a song, I believe, or something that says, we will weather the weather, whether we like it or not. And so you find yourself in a state where, whether you like it or not, that is where you are. So you better weather with the weather. And so under adapting, there needs to be a self-realization that God does not waste experiences. He works in all things. He does not waste experiences. Believe it or not, you who is hearing me, what God has allowed to happen to you is an experience that tomorrow He will use to speak to someone. If I hadn't gone through the transitions I'd gone through from 2023 to now, Shoti would have been asking me, you're a transition coach. Have you gone through any transition? I'd tell you, actually, I don't know. I'd be bringing here theory knowledge. But I have gone through it. I'm not saying now I'm very good and I'm better than everyone else. But then I have a feeling, I know, when I say you get stuck there, when I say you need to adjust your sales, I have had to adjust. And I know that God does not waste that experience. He wants someone else to learn from your experience. So tell me today, or think through, what attitude are you carrying as you face your new reality? What attitude are you carrying? Are you carrying an attitude of adaptability? Or are you saying, no, I am stuck there? Because if you're stuck there, then my dear friend, you're not going to make any forward movement. So we are on new opportunities. The word change has ended there, new opportunities. And new opportunities, we're saying there is a lot of potential within you, and that you need to identify those opportunities that you can seize. There's a lot that lies within you, and it is activated by your faith in God. Shoti and I will tell you our anchor has been God. We cannot have this conversation and not have God in it. God will provide new opportunities. Look around, identify them. One big opportunity is you learning about yourself. Let me tell you, unless you go through a difficult season or a transition like that, you won't learn about yourself. Why? Because when we are in what we call a comfort zone, we are so comfortable, we probably don't even bother to look aside or aside, this side or the other. We are just comfortable. Everything is going on okay. But when you're challenged, when something shifts, you're forced to sit back and have to learn about yourself. So gain new insights about yourself. Remove routine and dullness. That's what new opportunities will do. They remove routine and dullness because you are so predictable. Oh, she leaves the house at 7 in the morning. She's usually back by 4. But now you have no job. So 7 in the morning is still finding you in the house trying to figure out what to do. So it removes routine and dullness and that predictability that gets you so comfortable. And that doesn't mean that that is bad or that is good. We're just saying it's a change that wakes you up to do things differently. And possibly in that doing things differently, that initiative, that innovation, as you begin to figure out how to do new things and do them in a different way, you're growing. It helps you to be flexible. As you grab new opportunities, it promotes flexibility. And that now adds on to your adapting to your new situation. You begin to be more flexible. You will find that when change happens, you realize, hey, actually, I need to adjust. I need to flex. I should be ready anytime. I should just be ready. Because things happen. You hear us talking a lot, saying a lot, things happen. You learn to be a bit more flexible. You hold on to things less tightly. Have you seen when people lose jobs, they now learn, oh, okay, so the next job, I won't hold it too tightly. It can go anytime. You begin to be flexible and to say, I can do things differently. Maybe because now I've learned from the experience of losing jobs, I will now start a new side hustle so that even if I get another job and I lose, I have something on my side. So that challenge that you faced and faced with courage enables you to be a bit more flexible as you adopt your new situation. And then you reevaluate and reinforce your values. When you have new opportunities, your perspective changes. When you begin to see this as an opportunity that I can seize, you begin to ask myself, is that something I believe in? Can I do it? Is it in line with what I believe? Is it in line with my Christian standing? Is it in line with what my parents taught me? Is it in line with my practices? So a person, Thomas Kyle said, a person with a clear purpose will make progress on even the roughest road. If you have a clear purpose, no matter how rough that road goes, how rough that road is, with your clear purpose, you will make progress. But guess what? The person who has no purpose will make no progress, even if the road is very smooth. So the point here is to have purpose. And that purpose is what will help you as you're talking about new opportunities. You'll be saying, my goal, I still want to achieve my goal. I have lost my job. My goal was to build a home for my family. I will still look for something that will earn me an income because the building that I was building in Shags has to come to an end. And with that purpose that you have, even when the road is so rough, you will find a way. God will make a way for you because you're determined and you want to grab those new opportunities. In Isaiah 48, allow me to quickly read that verse. I am the Lord your God who teaches you what is good and leads you along the paths you should follow. So that even when you are in that point of crossroads, you're wondering now what this has happened, where do I go? The Lord says he will teach you what is good and he will lead you in the path that you should follow. What is that path that of new opportunities that you can grab? So in new opportunities, we want to be motivated, to have that self-motivation, to know that God is working for your good. Remember the verse in Romans, God is working for your good. And when he's working for your good, he will provide a way. So what opportunities, new opportunities, is this new reality presenting for you as you go through this transition? What new opportunities is this new reality that you are in presenting for you? I have only two more. There's G and E. Growth and transformation is for the G. So seek to grow personally through the new reality and opportunities. Remember, we've talked, you know your circumstances. You've harnessed your strengths, you know them. You've adopted, you've grabbed your new opportunities. Now, in your new opportunities and your new reality, seek to grow personally. This growth could be taking new courses. It could be seeking support of others. It could be making now even yourself making even a bigger change. You have lost your job, now you get even a bigger change. You decide, I'm moving out of town and going to look for another job. Or I'm relocating my family to another country or to up country. You make, in your new reality, as you grab those opportunities, seek to grow personally. You as an individual, but also the people around you. So we are saying also then seek to impact others. That it's not just you who grows personally, but impact the other people around you with your positive attitude. Why are we concerned about others? Because in many cases, a transition does not affect you alone. You remember when I was talking to Shoti about my transitions? There were transitions that were mine, at the workplace. But even those mine at the workplace will affect my husband because he will be like, okay, so what does that mean for income? When he transitions, oh, I'll ask, what does that mean for income? When the children transitions happen and they're going to a different level of schooling and education, that changes because we are changing from one institution to another. So are they being dropped? Are they being picked? Do they need bus fare? So that whatever transition happens to you, so long as because we are social beings, we are in a state of a family and society, it affects the people around us. So then when you're growing in your new state and your new reality with your new opportunities, then seek to also impact the people around you with your positive attitude because they're looking up to you, with what you do, your actions and reactions, and the change that is happening within. And guess what? When the people around, particularly children, and I want to speak to us as parents, when we are going through change, and one of you actually, Shoti, you didn't ask me that question, so let me ask myself and answer it. When I was going through the transition and of course then my husband was going through it and the children, and question is, did we sit as a family and talk about it? Yes, we did. When they were transitioning, we talked to them about it. How do you people feel about going? And of course, they're going to new institutions. My daughter's transition from grade 6 to 7. She went to a new school. My son went to university. So we talked about that. When it was my transition at the office, changing of bosses and all of that, and eventually leaving, my husband as well, we talked about them. What does this mean to us? Will we be dropped? Will we be picked? How will we manage the day? And all that. And on top of that, the person who was helping us in the house reached a point where she needed to also leave. In the midst of all of this, then I also did not have what we call house managers. And that's the most interesting one, Shoti, if I can throw it in here, because I'm talking to mothers. I then had to release my girl in the midst of all these transitions. And I sat there and I said, wow, this is a lot. But then I realized when the person left who used to help us, guess what? The four of us had to pull our weight. And within a month, everyone was saying, actually, it is better when we don't have someone. Let's stay like that. So up to now, it has been 6 months, more than 6 months, we don't have one. Of course, we have the one probably who just comes in once a week and goes, but we do not have a live-in fully. So what did we do? We allowed each of our transitions affect each other. We began to understand what each one of us is going through, what changes are we going through, and we began to appreciate that our new state is even one that's helping us even now draw closer, because then you don't have someone in the house who does not quite belong to family. We are just now the four of us. So impact others with your change, with your new circumstance. Stay focused on your goal and your personal development. Do not get derailed. Stay focused. Focus, by the way, is very, very important. Stay focused. Why? There are voices you will hear. And I tell you this as one who's gone through transitions many at a go. People will come with all forms of advice. They've never even gone through what you've gone through. They will try to tell you this, that, or the other. Do this, do that. This is the action you should take. At the end of the day, what is it you want to achieve? What is your goal? And that's why self-awareness is critical. Stay focused on your goal. If it means shutting out other voices, do it, because you need to do this for yourself. I know I may sound like I am contradicting myself because I'm the same one in this talk who I said reach out to others. But we are saying you reach out to those who will help you, not those who will bring voices that now will just increase the anxiety, increase the fear, increase the concern. Seek help from those who will help you and those who see things the way you see them. Because if you see them things that way, they appreciate your goal and what you want to achieve, then they will support you. But you cannot then be going to people who are also fighting you. You now get even more confused. So be focused, stay on your goal and on your personal development. Don't get derailed. And then if you fail, maybe you've decided, okay, now I don't have work, I'm going to start pig business. So I buy pigs and I put, that business fails. So you say, okay, now let me try chicken. Oh, you struggle, it doesn't, don't give up. Try, try, try. There is someone who I think we said he did something, tried business, I think 15 times before he finally got it and never gave up. So don't give up. Winston Churchill says, courage is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. And for me here, the key thing is enthusiasm. Because when you try something once, then you try it again and try it again. Will you have the enthusiasm to try the fourth time? That takes courage. So do you see how courage is so critical in today's conversation, that you just have to take courage? So when you're seeking to grow, you're looking inward and saying, what is my purpose? And I know that God has a purpose for my life. That's what we read in Romans. He has a purpose and he will fulfill it. So what areas of growth and development do you see in the transition that you have? Knowing that God has a purpose for you. Wherever this conversation we're having today finds you, and you know that God has a purpose, and you want to grow personally, even through what you're going through now in forms of a transition, what areas of growth and development are you seeing ahead of you? And finally, the E, evaluate the impact of your transition. Evaluate the impact of your change, because the change that you've gone through has had impact. Like I said, ours was impacting the children, impacting everybody. So who has been impacted by that transition? Evaluate. And as you're taking this evaluation is of the transition, but then evaluating this process we've gone through. As you're looking at your circumstances, under A, as you're harnessing your changes, C, under C, under H, you're harnessing your changes. You're harnessing, your strengths. You're adapting, under A. You're grabbing your new opportunities, under N, and you're growing, under G. You're evaluating even that process. So rely on God, because only God will continue to build your faith and your faith in him. Rely on him. You cannot do this on your own. And then build character. We talked about resilience earlier. Building of character happens when this transformation happens within you. I'm telling you, as you go through this, you begin to appreciate your strengths. You begin to appreciate who you are. You begin to appreciate who God is in your life. You begin to appreciate what he has allowed to happen, and even people he has put in place. As you begin to look out to who can assist me in this new circumstance, that builds character, that builds resilience. As you begin to see, I can actually do it. This is not going to bring me down. Then your relationships begin to be affected because you build them. They're affected positively. They are impacted. I told you in our own family now, when we did not even have someone staying with us because for other reasons that had nothing to do with us, she needed to leave, she was not well. We then had, our relations were even closer. We were like, no, now we can even stay alone. It is okay. Because now they are much older. They're not children, and we needed a lot more help. So relationships around you, they need to be changed by that transition. What you're going through, because you're drawing people into your circumstance. The people close to you are experiencing this with you one way or the other. So as you're growing, then that change also needs of growth, and that impact needs to reach out to them as well. So the results of all this will be growth. It will be you building yourself and you building others. This is what we are talking about, transformation. In coaching, we focus on that transformation, on you as an individual, on the circumstance you're going through, and how you're making a difference to the people around you. So what is the impact of the transition that you're going through? Or what will be the impact of this transition after you've taken heed of the things that I've talked about today? So transition is not just about our ability to stay flexible or the ability for us to change, but it is about our ability to reflect and to learn from our experiences and to integrate those experiences into who we are today as we go through them, but also more importantly, who we are becoming tomorrow, having gone through them and coming out at the other end. I'll read that again. Transition is not just about your ability to stay flexible or to ability to change, but your ability to reflect and to learn from your experience and to integrate those experiences into who you are, and more importantly, who you're becoming. So I'll ask you this question. 2 years from today, what will be your story about your transition? You're going through a change this year. 2 years from today, we're talking about the year 2027, before we do elections. What will be your story of transition? What will you say? I went through a transition in 2025. Now in 2027, as I look back, I thank God because today I'm a different person. Or will you say, I am still suffering from that transition? Oh, the things they did to me. May you not be the one in the latter. May you be the former who says, with that transition, I impacted people. I moved. We are not talking about money success, but you made a change, not just in your life, the people around you. If there is a financial success to it, we praise the Lord and we thank Him. But that's not our focus. Our focus first is building you as an individual and you being transformed. And finally, I just want to share with us the words of T.D. Jakes. He came in Nairobi in 2019, and this quote has always stuck with me. Others can inspire you, but ultimately, the only thing that empowers you is what lies within you and learning how to better utilize what you have been given. Other people will inspire you, but eventually and finally, what will empower you is what lies within you and learning how to better utilize what God has given you. Remember, we said you harness your strengths. So no matter what happens to you, what people do to you, or what transitions are imposed on you, or what transitions you meet, what will help you is what lies within you and learning how to utilize it so that you can come out a better person, a transformed person, a grown person. We thank God for this opportunity. I am personally very happy to have done this. I hope that this has somehow made a difference for you, made you see transitions, for example, in a different way, because maybe we have a negative connotation to it or negative thoughts, or we always think when we go through some difficult time, then this is not a good thing. Sometimes, yes, it may be painful, but as God says, those circumstances are for good. So stick on what is your purpose. Focus on it. And when transitions come, like we say, don't lose focus. Look inward. How can this transition help me come out a better person? Thank you, Shoti. I think I will end there. Unless you have questions or something.
Thank you so much, Nyambura. That was so powerful. It was actually a masterclass. I'm glad I didn't want to interrupt because I was also learning and just taking in and soaking in the information. Thank you for simplifying such a heavy topic into steps that we can be able to follow, and also giving us as moms examples of areas that we can be going through transition. Some are so easy we don't even recognize. You gave us the example of crossing the road. We've gotten from this side to that side, but we didn't think it's a transition. So thank you for removing kind of things that keep us stuck. One thing that I've picked from you is how we can either stay stuck or lost, or decide to be grateful, because on the other side of a transition is a transformation. Like God will allow that renewing of our mind, and the more we allow God to use our situation, the more we get to know what His will is for us. And His will is always, it's always perfect, it's always good, it's always pleasant. And I'm very, very grateful.